all you hardcores out there, how are you doing? Nice little video here for you from Julian while I'm away here working my ass off. Big shout out to Welcome Estates and all you people out there who are interested in properties abroad. Buy before the boom!
Good evening once again, hope you're all well. Looking forward to the boxing at the weekend, particular Adam Azim. Just wondered what all your guys' thoughts were on him. We often see premier amateurs who are just amazing juniors and then come through the pro ranks, and we put huge expectations on them and not all of them deliver. And I wondered what you guys were thinking about Adam Azim right now. So he fights at the weekend. Looks to have a decent half a step up against Rylan Charlton. We all know Charlton. Limited but strong, durable, very fit, very physical. So he should prove a good test, or at least push Azim for 2 or 3 rounds. In terms of myself, massively impressed with everything that I've seen. Obviously was a brilliant junior, 10-time national champion. Now that takes some doing as a junior, you know, through the schoolboys, the youths. Absolute brilliant amateur, won the Europeans again, and he was a #1 ranked junior in the world, which is incredible. I like his style. I saw his first fight against Ed Harrison. Ed Harrison's a tough old boy. I know myself, I've been in the opposite corner to Ed Harrison, not as a fighter of course, but tough old boy, and he won on points, and then he's exploded ever since. He had a bit of a break after that fight. I guess the world stopped spinning for a while, and he's looked absolutely electric. It was about his 2nd or 3rd pro fight. I saw him on Sky, and it just reminded me, now don't spit your coffee out now and think I'm getting overly excited. It reminded me of a young Thomas Hearns. Now anybody who remembers a young Thomas Hearns coming through in the late 70s, Hearns wasn't somebody then who was perceived to be a future star, and certainly not the all-time great that he eventually became. Thomas Hearns was a good amateur, decent amateur, best known for getting beat by Aaron Pryor, who was the American star at that time, as a gangly 17-year-old. But Hearns incredibly was a non-puncher, and then he developed this phenomenal power and leverage. Now, Adam Azim reminds me a little bit of a young Thomas Hearns. So Hearns, through his early welterweight days in Detroit, knocking out several overmatched fighters and a few faded names on the way up, he looked better and better and better every single time you see him. And Azim reminds me of a young Hearns, not just because of the obvious things like the reach and the speed and that snappy jab, but I love how he sets his shots up. I think that's just fantastic for such a young fighter. He's obviously a precocious talent, the way he's got that range and distance and timing. I also love how he throws those different right hands. I mean, Shane McGuigan's a good coach of throwing the right hand. You only have to look at the fighters that he works with, and Shane McGuigan understands the discipline of distance and range and movement, bi-directional movement and leverage on the backhand. And that's something that Shane McGuigan, you can see, has been working with Azim. But he doesn't just throw the overhand right or the straight right hand. He'll loop it. He'll loop it over the top. He'll loop it around the side. He'll throw the wide right hook to the body. He gets away with that with timing. He's very disciplined. When he's finished with that right hand, he brings it back right to the point of the chin. He has a low left hand. Don't be too disturbed by that. I'm never offended by fighters who have low left hands, as long as when they get into the pocket and into that mid-range, they put their hands up, you know, as that distance starts to narrow. Azim does that. I love the jab. That jab is just such a fast, powerful punch. He puts variety on it. He uses it as a point scorer, as a range finder. He uses it as a weapon. He'll touch to the head. He'll slam it to the chest. So what we're seeing right now with Adam Azim is, offensively, he looks absolutely fantastic. He looks electric, a dynamite puncher, and he really does look the real thing. Lots of fighters look the real thing in the first 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights. And of course, as we know, boxing gets harder. What happens when you hit somebody on the chin? and he doesn't go down and he hits you back. These are all the things that we're going to discover about Adam Azim. I also think Boxer are doing a really good job of keeping him busy. There's way too many high pedigree amateurs and just general other fighters coming through the pro ranks, so that when they hit the pro ranks, they're fighting 2 or 3 times a year. It's an absolute nonsense. So this will be Adam Azim's 6th fight since last November, so 6 fights in a year. That's a really good schedule. And even though they're generally quick fights that he's having, you've got to keep them out and got to keep them consistent. And that's something that seems to be not very common these days. Fighters, even the young kids turning over, they're fighting 2 or 3 times a year. It's absolutely no good. So I'm looking for Azim to move pretty quickly, but Shane McGuigan and Barry obviously will be advising, and I know Boxer obviously having to that long-term contract. They're moving quickly, but not too quickly. But how good is he? Right now, I think he could certainly get into the mix in the top 5 domestically. That might sound a big call. Some talents are precocious, and don't forget fighters like Ali, Mike Tyson. Look at the age that they were world champions. Things like obviously there was only one Wilfredo Benitez, but Benitez was a really genuine world champion at 17. So I'm not suggesting Azim can get a world title within the next 12 to 18 months, but I think he could be world champion within 2 to 3 years. I think he's that good. I've been around boxing a long time. I've seen people come and people go. We don't know what's going to happen when he gets tickled on the chin, as I've said earlier. But what I am seeing is potentially world-class offense, a world-class IQ, and the setup is absolutely brilliant. I've not seen a setup like he's shown in very, very quick fights, very quick glimpses, but you can do it or you can't. And the setup that I'm seeing, albeit against survivors in general, looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited about this kid. There are not many fighters these days who really do get me excited domestically, but I remember seeing Ryan Garcia turn over, and it was a bit raw in bits, and I just thought Ryan Garcia would be the next big thing. It's not quite turned out like that, but obviously he had time off. But can Adam Azim be the next big thing? Not just in terms of British boxing, but in terms of world boxing. Time will tell. Yeah, anybody who knows me knows I'm quite reluctant to label anybody as a future world champion. But from what I'm seeing right now with Azim, I've mentioned this before when I've done interviews and various things. Some fighters have the golden child effect. It's just a glow that they have. And I think there's something about Adam Azim where he has that golden child effect. And I think he could go quite far in boxing. I might be red-faced. My predictions are not always right. But I certainly think he'll do a 2 to 3 round demolition on Rylan Charlton at the weekend. I'd like to see him get the rounds, but it's not essential right now. As long as he's being active and being busy and he's getting out there, so be it. Once again, thank you everybody for watching these. I don't put too many videos out. I do try, long day at work, family, etc. But please like, share and subscribe. Julian McGowan Boxing Predictions. It's Adam Azim at the weekend for me, anywhere between the 3rd round. And this kid's going to go a long way. And I think he'll be picking up national titles, perhaps at the back end of next year, and then moving on quickly after that. I hope I'm right. Boxing needs a big star. And I will say one final thing, and it's not a constant dig about Conor Benn. I've made my feelings clear about Conor Benn through his career. But even though Adam Azim is a half a weight division below Conor Benn, I'd put my money on Adam Azim to beat Conor Benn 10 times out of 10. Okay, that's just me saying it how I see it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I've been on the sauce. Somebody who is a teetotal and very, very rarely has a drink. I haven't been drinking, I promise. Maybe I've lacked a bit of sleep these days, but I do think he's that good. I look forward to seeing him at the weekend. I'll certainly choose to watch him over some of the other shows that are going on, although we have got some great shows coming up this weekend. If I get the chance, I'll do a quick prediction about all the fights coming up over the weekend. But just for now, I wanted to just say, Adam Azim, future champion, win inside 3 rounds. Do you rate him? Am I going over the top? And you take care, guys.
Like I said earlier, and I'll say again, bye before the boom. Peace out. I'll see you when I get back. Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.
You liked that one, didn't you? Right, first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for liking and subscribing. It means a lot to me because we're on this journey together, aren't we? So anybody got any ideas for the channel, fire them over to me, porkycorner@mail.com. all right? Shout out to Innovation Alloys and South Yorkshire Packaging, all right? Don't forget to subscribe, keep on trucking.